Welcome to Lesson 1, Part 1, The Why and How of Growing Food at Home. In this presentation, we're going to discuss some of the reasons that you might be interested in growing your own food at home and answer some of the more common questions related to it. So why do you grow at home? Throughout the years, we've asked these questions to numbers of students, and we've gotten a lot of the same answers back. But I want you to think about your own reasons for a minute, and then we'll go over the common things that we hear. So number one, we hear people say that they want to save money by growing a garden at home. And we're going to talk about if that's really true or not. Certainly when you grow it yourself, it is fresher and can be much better quality than food that has been transported long distances or sat on store shelves for a time. Certainly that also contributes to there being better flavor and often higher nutrient value in those foods. There's definitely more variety when you choose your seeds and your seedlings and are not subject to just whatever the store might have. It can be a great learning tool for children, very important to get young people out into the garden and working with you. And lastly, don't forget, it can be a lot of fun, as long as we do it in a way that doesn't create too much work for ourselves. So can you really save money? If you've ever been standing in front of a beautiful display rack at a nursery of seeds or tools or supplies, you might think, I'm not going to save any money on this garden. But with a little planning and with a little self-control, absolutely you can save money by growing your own fresh fruits and vegetables at home. And so for an example, if you were to find a 16-cent pack of seeds, now sometimes the discount or dollar stores have seeds for that cheap. If you were to plant all the seeds in that package, say it was carrots, you could come up with 50 pounds of carrots from that 16-cent pack of seeds. If you looked at some other popular crop choices, you could be looking at 100 pounds of squash, 50 or more pounds of tomatoes, and 100 or more pounds of cucumbers, all from that one packet of seed. So you can think even if you are paying $2.50, $3.25 for a packet of seeds, that is still an incredible value when you look at just the cost of seeds and the yield potential. Oh, and then this is another one, peppers. Peppers are so expensive at the market and certainly one of the things that are cheaper to grow yourself. And when you're looking at planting your garden, think about those items that are more expensive in the store, those higher value crops. But again, remember that it is possible to spend a lot of money on your garden. And I refer to this book by William Alexander, The $64 Tomato. So we can certainly make choices that make our gardens more expensive to grow. So a research study conducted by the National Gardening Association showed that the average home garden, about 300 square feet, if you put in a $50 investment in supplies, soil amendment, seeds, and plants, you would actually be yielding between $400 to $600 worth of produce if you were to look at the equivalent of fresh, organically grown local produce at stores or the local market. So really, you can save money by growing your own food at home. A little bit about freshness, quality, and taste. 1,500 is a number that's often thrown around as the number of miles food on average travels from the time it is harvested to the time that it ends up on your table. So when we're growing our own food at home, we are shortening that distance considerably, sometimes to just a matter of mere feet. So when food is traveling those long distances and it's being stored for a period of time, you do encounter vitamin and mineral losses. So that food may actually have less vitamin and mineral content. When food is transported, you also run into bruising or damage. And when that happens, you have entry points for pathogens like E. coli or salmonella or other contaminants. And when we're picking our produce from the garden, we're picking it at the peak of ripeness. There's no gas needed to encourage ripening. So a little bit about variety. Certainly there's nothing wrong with the good old Idaho Burbank potato. We're famous for it. It's one of the best out there. But when we grow a garden at home, we are not limited to just what the store's selection might be. We're looking at all these different kinds of potatoes you can grow. Purple, red, yellow, golden, some of the fingerling shapes that you see here. And these are available at many local nurseries, garden centers, and there are mail order catalogs that will ship to Idaho, but you have to be careful to only buy certified clean seed that is appropriate and approved for shipment into Idaho. Tomatoes are another one where variety comes into play in the garden. So sometimes at different times of the year, you may only find a few different kinds of tomatoes at your local market. You might find a red slicer, a cherry tomato, maybe a Roma. But when you're at home and you start from seed or seedlings, the choices are multiple. You've got every color under the rainbow of tomatoes, shape, size, texture, flavor. So you can let your own personal choices be your guide.